Okay, so today I'll do another mobile stream on my iPhone, and at least I put good use to this. Of the four things I've unboxed in my little unboxing mini series, which on YouTube, when I went to upload it, between all of them, or I guess I maybe only uploaded three out of the four. I haven't done the iPhone one yet. But out of all of them, they've gotten like maybe 5 views total between them, which it's a weird kind of content. I don't know how to exactly do it, but it's a cool idea. So, like, which ones did we do? We did the Rode microphone and or no, I guess I only did two of them, and then the other two is the chest up thing and the iPhone. But we did the Rode mic and the camera itself that I was using to do the other unboxings. So here we're going to dive into my debate format again, where let's look at one of the biggest issues and the biggest methods of control and fallacy in the modern era. And so there's certain buzzwords, right? We'll address the stimuli acme directly. So there's some of these buzzwords in society that betray a certain intelligence that people have. So let's look at some of them. Okay, love, or even just certain ideas like religion. This is where the human mind and imagination can be weaponized against it to control people, because that's all it is, right? If you think about, again, love or religion, God, or even like morality or gratification, social contrivance, emotion, all of these things are nothing more than tools to control people, because it's one of two things, right? The process and the tendency is still there. Whether you're controlled by it or whether you're in control of it yourself, right, is not the issue. Or I mean, it is like, people will want to pretend there is no process, and the aware, it's like shoot the messenger. We'll pretend there is no process behind something, right? Such and such social interaction or sexual stimuli or whatever. Like, oh, there's no process behind this. And then, like, you want to pretend, oh, there's no process. And then if somebody points it out or shows awareness of it, oh, they're the problem. Like, oh, they're being disingenuous or this or that. But in reality, it's just awareness of the process. So one person could be aware of it, the other one is not aware, and you know, they're they're not aware, so therefore they're controlled by the process because they treat it like it isn't a process, right? Even though everything is. So if simply being aware of the process is going to invalidate it, then perhaps it's not such a strong basis to begin with. So that's often well, that's actually the origin point of my, again, like I created absolutist philosophy because, again, it's like something I spoke about a lot. And so this is not saying there aren't similar ideas, but this is my creation. So absolutist philosophy, you might think, oh, it means that you believe in absolutes or you practice things in absolutes. But actually, it's the opposite. It's the fact that there are no absolutes. So therefore, you're not controlled or hindered by them or inhibited by them. So therefore, the only absolute, which still isn't an absolute, would be the reliance then on human ability and will and potential and self-actualization. So instead of waiting, right, this is one of my expressions, instead of waiting and hoping and praying like peasants in the feudal times, like peasants working for heaven, for promises of heaven, right? Oh, if you're just good in this life, you'll go to heaven in the next life. See, instead of waiting and letting yourself be controlled, why not do it in this life, right? Pretend there is no heaven, which of course there isn't, but pretend, treat it for what it is. Now, without that to lean on, now it's harder to control people because they'll say, well, now I'm not holding back for that. So again, it's nothing more than a tool to control people. So if you look at look at love or emotion, emotion is nothing more than a rational insistence upon the self. Even to best achieve one's self-interest, it would behoove you not to be emotional because you could think rationally about how to solve the problem or achieve a certain goal, and either you just simply can't do it, which is where emotion serves as a placeholder, similar to gratification for, again, self-insistence instead of self-value. That's where the ego is used to control people. The ego is used to control society on the following basis: that people are taken from their inherent, free, uninhibited state, what I call inherent man, how you would be if you're just born in nature, if you're, not exposed to society, etc. So now they're taken from that state and reduced to a lesser state where, again, they're inhibited, and it's almost like there's a few different terms I have for this, like the fallacy of permission. Like, oh, you need society's permission to do a certain thing, or uh, you need to earn back the right to do what you're inherently capable of doing anyway, right? In your natural state, you need to earn the right to do it. Oh, you have to get a license to do that. You have to do this to do it, right? Like, you need to somehow get permission of society. You need to somehow earn back the right to even do what you could do inherently, and to only do it partially, and to only do it halfway, and to only do it, as society lets you do it. So there's no basis for that authority ever, because the basis would be the opposite. Not that you have to justify what you're doing, right? A person is capable of doing anything that they can do, physically, anything they can do just by existing, right? You don't need to justify, oh, I'm a human being and I exist, so now I can do all these things. You don't need to justify that. Society would need to justify why you can't do it, why you shouldn't do it, why you're inhibited from doing it. And it's often a fallacious basis that assumes a negative of people, like, oh, well, you can't do it because you'll commit a crime, or, it assumes a negative perspective on people. The problem with that is the simple fact that, again, if you assume that, then the whole basis of society doesn't work anyway, because I have so many of these logical razors that I can pull out at any time. Like, society assumes the goodness of people, or no, society assumes the badness of people but relies on their goodness. So that's the internal contradiction. You would say, oh, people are good in modern society. People are good, and you got to trust them and believe in that. Also, we recognize in the actual reality of what we do that they're not good, and we assume they're bad, because why would we need to indoctrinate them from youth before they can critically think for themselves, like through parenting, etc.? Why would we need constant social indoctrination, reinforcement, accountability, stigma? Why would we need the media? Why would we need, threat of enforcement, all these different things? Why would you need that if the assumption is that, oh, people are good, right? So you're assuming that they're bad, and yet, so it's the same fallacy that I use to explain this. It's like, oh, you think everybody's out to get you, right? Let's suppose. Well, let's look in society. They might not be out to get you specifically, but they might do whatever they want to do for their own benefit, and you might be in the way of that. Or it's like this idea that society is not out to get you and people aren't out to get you, but also every single little thing you do in your entire life is being watched by them, monitored by them. It has to be approved by them. You need permission to go here, go there, do this. You need a permit. You need a license. You need, always some permission, always some, watchful eye. People are always watching you. People are always judging you. People are always trying to reinforce their own flawed contrivance state, right, through externality. So when you look at that, you might think, oh, no, how did those two reconcile with each other? That's what society exists to do. They're constant, like nothing is innocent. Like, oh, it's your neighbor checking up on you or this or that. But no, they have their own incentive because they live there. They want to make sure, oh, they want to know what's going on in the neighborhood and make sure you're not doing something that, oh, they subjectively wouldn't approve of. Or, there's this weird buffer in everything that, like, you just can't exist freely. You can't be free because you have to always be inhibited. So again, the level of outward insistence. So again, those are the two primary fallacies that we get into, which are people are good. Also, we have to indoctrinate them, enforcement, all these different things, constant social contrivance, accountability, constant stigmatization, constant, reinforcement. Why would that be necessary if people are good? So you're recognizing in practice that they're not good, and you require all that, but then you want to pretend they're good. But if they were, then you would not need all that. You could just, then it'd be hard to reconcile the inhibition that you have. Like, why are you being inhibited so much if people are good, right? Why do you have to be restricted so much or overextended so much? And then the second contradiction is that the fact that um, like, oh, society isn't out to get you or something like this. But again, every little thing you do is being watched by them, monitored by them. It might seem like a benevolent thing, like, oh, it's just family checking up on you. Oh, it's his neighbor checking up on you. But what is the purpose of it? They're trying to overextend their own non-basic self, as I call it. Even if it seems like, oh, it's in a positive basis, it's all part of the reductive collective contrivance that you never chose to be a part of in the first place, trying to reinforce itself and outwardly insist upon itself. So the problem with that premise is it assumes like some moral collective good or some intent, but the problem is that people aren't very credible to that extent. These are the same people, historically, collectively, that, oh, we would allow every horrible thing ever to happen, right, or even facilitate it ourselves. So people are kind of mindless sheep and they're not credible, but you're supposed to treat them as such. But no, the main point is, again, absolutism. There is no, or absolutist philosophy, there are no absolutes. That puts more emphasis on human action. So do everything you can do instead of, oh, I'm going to rely on superstition or God or some other nonsense. So here's what happens. What happens is the simple fact that, let's observe the nature of the stimuli acme. So in the modern era, people are obsessed with sex. Uh, you have this obsession, fixation, repression leads to obsession, as I always say. How when it's inhibited, then people obsess over it all the more. It can just be a natural, normal part of life. It's somehow the basis of, base your whole life around it, kind of is the thing. Family system, functional basis. So the one thing I'll say is, let's go to the base element. Like, pretend the world was a nudist colony and everybody was, always in their element. What this reflects is that people aren't at peace with their inherent self, right? Like, it's a big deal, right? Like, oh, it's just the human body. It's just everybody has the same parts. Everybody has, like, it's not it's not that big of a deal, but we make it into a big deal. And so this is where the premise comes in, that all that undue emphasis, like what I call censoring reality, is only necessary to create some sort of curated and contrived state. So if everybody was just okay in nature and they're comfortable with themselves, they're at peace with themselves, their own natural body, their own natural self and state of being, right, that would speak for itself. So there wouldn't be that big of an emphasis on it. It would just be a natural part of life, like it is. The emphasis comes in because we restrict it or control it in some way, or we want to specify it. So what happens is we'll say that okay, we're going to restrict it. So everybody's inhibited, everybody's again wearing clothes and whatnot, right? But the point being that if society dictates, like, okay, it can only be done in a certain way and it has to be done with one person and one person only, and it has to be all these sort of rules and restrictions, and some other, just basically that would say, okay, you can't do it like this, you have to do it like this, you can't, whatever the circumstance is, because of all that. Okay, so even though we turned it on to 720p, and even though I'm on 30 FPS, it still crashed, so whatever. But the point is, I'll just put it on, again, like 144p or something, one of these times. But what I was saying is people are not at peace. Think about again, okay, it's love and it's meant to be, and let's just take the stimuli acme as absolute. but think about the elements that are necessary to treat it as absolute. So people cannot be at peace with their own natural body and state. It has to be a big deal. It has to be concealed, censored. It has to be treated like some big, whether some great positive, like, wow, we saw this little thing, on TV, some celebrity revealed it, revealed something, and that's a big deal, or we kind of worship it and obsess over it. Wow, we saw a little slip here. Right, we fixate and obsess like it's a huge deal, and it's just a natural, normal part of the body, and or we treat it as a negative, like, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. How can you possibly do that? How can you possibly show that? So again, we obsess over it instead of being truly free. See, being free of it wouldn't be, oh, you're not going to do it at all. You're not going to care about sex at all. Nor is it that you would care about it all the time and be a hedonist and all that. It would be more that it's neither of those. So it just is what it is. So you can do it, you cannot do it. It doesn't matter, right? Instead of this state that we're caught in instead, which is where we obsess over it as a society, like, again, every little occurrence of it, oh, it's the worst thing ever. How could you possibly do it? It's, for the streets, this and that. Like, we have all this moral high ground. We're condemning it. You can't do it this way. You can't do it this way. And then a positive, like, oh, it's love and it's meant to be and it's the greatest thing ever. Both of those are unnatural and not absolute states, but because we create the illusion of them, let's think about the elements that are necessary to create that illusion. So, for example, the again, people are not at peace with their own natural body and self. People are, nor their inherent tendencies, inherent desires, suggested tendencies, as I call them. So therefore, instead of being aware of them and in control of them, you are instead controlled by them by pretending they either don't exist or that, oh, they're so bad, and that, oh, you're resisting them, but actually you're controlled by them because, again, there's like a false elegance fallacy here, like, oh, it's I wrote like a short story that demonstrated this. It's like these wealthy people at a party versus this hedonistic village that's just kind of doing, engaging in the stimuli acme freely. So you think, oh, look how elegant they are. They're wearing suits and dresses and drinking wine and talking and all this kind of thing. But you realize it's kind of the opposite in a way, that the hedonists aren't dancing around it. They're just getting to the point and then they can do whatever else they want to do, right? But they're just getting to the point of what the stimuli acme is about. Whereas and then they, again, they don't have to be controlled by it or base their whole life around it. They treat that for what it is, hedonism, that's it. The, the, don't tell me I crashed again. Uh, uh, whereas the party people would be like, oh, you're basing all this around that. You're obsessing over it so much that, like, you'd be, oh, just to achieve that same end in a partial halfway sense, right? Ultimately, that's still a major goal and the major point of it. Like, oh, we're gonna dress up real nice, and then we're gonna socialize, and then we're gonna drink, and we're gonna eat, and we're gonna spend all this money and time and effort, and we're going to dance, and we're gonna socially impress them, and this and that, and all to get to the same end, which is the hedonistic point. So, which one is truly sophisticated or controlled, right? The hedonist who treats reality for what it is and does what they want to do, versus the one who obsesses over it, dances around it, beats around the bush, all to get to the same point in a halfway state that has to pretend itself to be more in some gratification overcompensation fallacy. So again, can't be at peace with the self, and also this is one great disqualifying factor of the insecurity to do with the specification of the stimuli acme too. The fact that it's like, okay, pretend let's assume, first of all, people's orientation, right? Assume that you're a straight man and you're going out with a straight woman, right? Even we're assuming that, but
right? Let's say that's what the situation is. Then from there, you say, well, that straight man can't be friends with other women or straight women, because they have a girlfriend or a wife. So you can't have female friends. And then the same thing for the woman that, oh, she can't have male friends. Now think about what you just said, right? This is where, again, the objectivity of this comes in. Absolutist philosophy is that it's not telling you what to do, right? Nowhere in this is saying, oh, you should be like this, you should be in this relationship, you shouldn't be. But let's just lay out the guidelines, right? Supposedly, this relationship that you're in is absolute and it's meant to be and it's soulmate and one and only for you, etc. But then, in order to do it, again, in order to value it, you have to censor reality, like we already discussed, and then you have to censor reality further by saying, "Oh, you can't be friends with 4 billion people on the planet Earth. You cannot be friends with 4 billion people just because you happen to be in a relationship with one." Now, what does that tell you? Does that make it seem like, oh, it's so absolute that I have to cut off 4 billion people as potential friends, etc., in order to make this absolute work? So that would indicate to anyone that, oh, it's not absolute, because just simply not restricting that would open up, oh, well, then I might be attracted to them, and all it would take is me simply talking to them or being exposed to them. Don't you think if it was actually absolute, you wouldn't have any such fear? You wouldn't be worried about that. You can be friends with anybody, everybody, because it's so absolute that there's nothing to worry about. So you're seeing this is the difference between the pretense and the practice. The pretense is, oh, it's absolute, to specify it, restrict it, limit it. But
But the practice is that the practice reveals that it's not absolute. It's like the same thing with morality, right? You pretend people are good, but they're only good supposedly after all the indoctrination, etc. So you're recognizing that they're not good by their own subjective standard, obviously, but then you pretend like they are after the process that creates the illusion of it. So again, you suppose it's absolute, but oh, all you have to do to be in this absolute supposed relationship is, oh, let's cut off 4 billion people, and now it's absolute. Well, under that circumstance, it might seem to work better. So you have to censor people out of your life to say, oh, all it would take is me interacting with other people of the same gender, and oh, I might feel attracted to them, or I might want to be with them instead, or with them too, or that's all it would take, right? That shows you how shallow it is instead of, no, there shouldn't be any fear of that if what you have is truly absolute and truly special. So let's take that analogy one step further. Pretend you're bisexual. So a bisexual man is with a bisexual woman or man, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? So the bisexual man can't be friends with other women because, oh no, with women because they can't be attracted to them. But wait a second, by that same logic, they're also attracted to men now in this example. So now the man can't have female friends because they're attracted to women, but they also can't have male friends because they're attracted to men. So in order to be in this bisexual relationship, or in order to be in a relationship as a bi person, you would have to not cut out 4 billion people of the same gender that you're attracted to. You would have to cut out all 8 billion. So this is like a stand-up comedy bit waiting to happen. Maybe that's what I should turn this into because people are too stupid to actually understand it normally. So you may as well just mock them to their face and have them laugh at it. But so like, okay, in order to, me and my girlfriend we made this agreement that we can't be friends with people of the same gender as each other because that would really be a threat to the relationship, right? We have to cut out 4 billion people out of our lives. I have to cut out all the 4 billion women, and she has to cut out all the 4 billion men because that's the only way to make this absolute love work, right? That's how you know it's absolute. That you just have to cut off 4 billion people to make it work. But then I got to thinking, I know I have this friend who's bisexual, and their partner is bisexual too. So let me get this straight. In order for their relationship to work, they would each have to cut out 4 billion people of the sex that they're attracted to. But wait a second, they're attracted to both sexes, so they'd have to cut out all 8 billion people and not be friends with anyone ever for that relationship to work.
So that shows you how artificial. I don't know. I was trying to do it like I'm doing a stand-up comedy bit, but the point is that's how ridiculous it is. So what does that reveal? Does that mean, oh, you shouldn't be in a relationship with just one person? Or no, it doesn't make any such claim. It's simply revealing the fallacy of it. That should that be necessary? So either it's not absolute, in which case you can do it if you want, but there's no empirical basis to say, oh, you have to do it or you should do it, you must do it. Right? It's arbitrary because it's clearly not absolute because it requires just a perfectly curated, contrived circumstance for it to appear to be valued. And then the other thing is the fact that
It's not absolute, or if it is absolute, then it shouldn't require any such
thing. So then, okay, you can be friends with anybody, and it shouldn't be a threat to that absolute. So again, you realize ultimately, oh, it's just a tool to control people and appeal to their gratification and ego, because again, it's a lot easier to control them like that by saying, oh no, it's the love and it's the soulmate, it's meant to be, there's a special someone for everyone, instead of, oh no, human beings are just horny animals who have to resist their inherent desires, suggested tendencies, and that society uses to control them, that for society. And the way to do that isn't to tell you that, oh, you're being controlled because.
Okay, so today I'll do another stream that is going to be discussing the stimuli acme again and other concepts from my debate format, but that's the main one I'm trying to focus on. So we did this discussion yesterday, and basically I've changed my settings yet again because the mobile data, streaming on mobile data is basically impossible, is what I've realized. I thought it would be good enough to handle something, especially when you're just showing the screen. I'm not even doing anything on it. Like I'm just holding it and talking, right? And I'm just showing like my blank screen or basically nothing, right? There's no visual component to this. But I started, 60 FPS, 6,000 bit rate, 1080p, and it kept crashing. So then I went down to 30 FPS. It did a little better. Now I went down to 720p and 30 FPS and 3,000 bit rate. So now if it crashes, I basically will just cancel my phone service and say fuck it because that's absolutely stupid. Again, I mean, I'm imagining like what people are doing. Right, you see people stream on phone all the time. So how much better could their mobile data and stuff be than this? That they're actually playing games on there, they're doing something more intensive, right? Like I don't get why it's so bad. Yeah, let's analyze this deeply here for a second. Give you some of my express. What this turns into is like every single statement or every single observation that I have becomes like a logical razor. So it's always about the larger process, right? It's not about the initial like, oh, look at this person doing this thing. No, it's about look at this tendency that this action shows about human beings overall and human history and tendency and all this. Like you're looking at something bigger instead of just being reactive to something more initial, like, oh, you just see what's in front of you and you just react to it and then that's it. No, everything would be like, no, that shows you something bigger and now you're aware of it and now you understand it and now that helps inform everything from that point on. Right? That's often not how people think. So here's one such logical razor where I said that whenever you hear people talk about you, or sorry, whenever you hear people talk about others to you, right? If people talk to you about others, like behind their back, then guess what tendency that shows? If they're willing to talk to you about others behind their back, then they're going to talk to others about you behind your back. Right? So that's the gossiping tendency. So they're going to tell you some juicy gossip about somebody else, but then you should be worried because you'll realize, oh, they would do the same thing about you when they're talking to them or somebody else. Right? So it shows you their overall gossiping tendency that they have. And then You also have the ability to consider that, I don't know, I wanted this mobile thing to be more reliable because I don't mind doing, like, even if I just do this for like a month or from now on, this is like not necessarily the only thing that I do, but in fact, it's a shame because I just unboxed a bunch of good stuff and now I'm not using it. The camera, so I can unbox other stuff or show like IRL stuff. The Rode mic, which I haven't been using actually either when I'm doing this. And then the chest up, which I could definitely make a series out of that. And then also the well, the iPhone itself that I'm using right now. But like this could be a very versatile format. Like I could just do it, you know, anytime I'm driving or whatever. There's no limit to it, right? Whereas it could just be more comfortable to do, especially for long periods of time. So, and again, it doesn't suffer much for the quality because there's nothing happening on video pretty much anyway. I could show maybe some of my channel art to make it a little more distinct, but yeah, what I want to look at here is, I guess I discussed the stimuli acme enough, but I mean, we're always, that's the whole scourge of the era, the whole specter of the era, that it would be there anyway, no matter what you're talking about. Let's just pick something random to talk about. Like, yeah, like last time I was talking about Charlie Kirk just because of whatever the reaction, but then it goes into other things, right? It doesn't have to just be about that. But like basically religious fallacies that some people say as far as like absolutes. If it was absolute, then you wouldn't need to say it, right? That sort of thing. Now the audio quality on this isn't the best, so I don't know what exactly you're supposed to do with it. I don't know if I'm talking too loud in that sense, or if I'm maybe have it too close, which it doesn't really feel that close. Let me try to talk a little quieter and put it a little farther away. Yeah, like there's some fallacies, let's say, in society to do with intelligence. Like, oh, if you wear glasses, you must be smarter. I wrote this in a short story that was pretty funny. Like, this character is, it turns into all is in like some private situation with somebody, and then she kind of takes the mask off, if you will, but not really. It's like, oh, she's always like that. So what it means is, she says stuff like, "Oh, I bet you thought I'm smart because I wear glasses," but that has nothing to do with it. Any, fuck it, crashed. Ah, so it's crashing even now. So I give up with this. It sucks. It just sucks. I'll just do it on zero. Oh my god, how? How can it not handle this? Yeah, I might have to change my plan. If that's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's wild. That's wild, bro. 30 FPS you cannot handle, 720p you cannot handle, 3000 bitrate you cannot handle. Like, what is this, dude? All right, so that basically that short story scene, like, oh, I bet you thought I was smart because I wear glasses, but anybody can wear glasses. That only has to do with sight, right? You don't wear glasses because you're smart. You wear glasses because you have trouble seeing, right? So that has nothing to do with it. And then you also have, and then she makes a joke like, that doesn't mean I'm smart. That just means I have trouble seeing, like countless people. Although it could mean that it could mean that I read books more. Like, I can't remember exactly how I said it. Like, wearing glasses doesn't mean that I'm smart. Millions of people wear glasses, and it's because they have trouble seeing. That has nothing to do with it. Although it might mean that I read books a bit more than you. Like, it might mean that I actually read books, unlike you. because that strains my eyes a bit. So the more that I read books, the more I need glasses, like, or the more I, use a computer, which could be very multifaceted. Like, what you're doing on there doesn't necessarily mean that you're smart. Yeah, glasses don't mean I'm smart, although they might indicate that I actually read books, unlike you. And then the other one was like, layer of like, oh, because you're quiet, that somehow means that you're like not smart. But then, oh, you got good grades in school, so then they couldn't say that you're dumb. So then they had to come up with some other label for you to say why you don't talk. Could it be that, oh, you're just so smart that maybe you don't need to talk and it doesn't serve any purpose and it's kind of a hindrance to you because you're already aware of everything and you don't need to dumb it down. So not only does not talking show that you're not smart, but it could show the opposite, that like you don't need to do that. So yeah, that was just like a funny scenario, and I think they crashed again. Yeah, I'm very unhappy with this. I'm very unhappy. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I'll go to the lowest possible settings, and it won't even matter because that is fuck. So basically, you can't do it. I don't know what you need. You need some Starling special backpack, fucking $6,000 setup. That is bullshit, dude. Maybe I'll try streaming directly from Twitch again. There was something wrong with it though. It would do it at 720p, which is still okay, but there was something else wrong that I couldn't mess with it. It's just so distracting, right? I can't get in a good flow because I keep seeing I have on my other phone, I'm watching it, and then I keep seeing be right back, be right back. Like, why is that happening? Let's discuss something else political. Like, so Donald Trump and I don't know. I find politics actually kind of boring because, like I said last time, you're not seeing the big picture. Like, politics really don't matter. They're just a they're just a tool to kind of facilitate things to the masses, but it's not really what controls things, right? Like the elite. Like, think about what are corporations and what are everything, all the advertising, marketing, social element. It's part of my rule by omission set of ideas that, like, oh, it's not just ravaging the environment or the whatever resources and selling them and exploiting them. Oh no, we're going to put a nice figurehead in front and all these mission statements and all this kind of thing. So like, to make it seem like something more than just, oh, they're just taking resources and just selling them to you and making a profit. And it's like, why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't anybody do that? Right? Why do they get the right to do it? So there's like some specification that goes on that sort of, let's build around it. Let's make the marketing seem harmless. Let's make the social people in front seem positive, so that you don't question the nature of the process itself, which would be unqualified, especially in the specified sense. So I just have like literally a million quotes, and it wouldn't even bother me so much if people use them, but I needed like a better formal collection of them, right? I'll just say them offhand, and it might seem like, oh, I don't know, just especially the exact phrasing of it. Like, again, I'm not saying similar ideas have never been said in human history, but just the exact phrasing of some logical razors and stuff are not to be diminished. And
That kind of kills my mood every time. The stupid ass crashes. It's so annoying. So what else do we have here? Politics is just whatever. It takes me so long to actually upload these things too. Like I should be better about doing it, but I keep up with it to be fair. Just or yeah, like I tried to file or some of it. I kind of want to try to play some more games on here, but I'll do that using Wi-Fi because this can't handle shit. It's giving me trouble because it must have been, or no, maybe that was on mobile data too. Because I was like playing Guns Up and it was all glitchy and stuff. It wasn't showing right, and it's like, why would I be using mobile data to do that? Because I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be playing Guns Up while driving, obviously. So, you know, I must have been doing it just to test the mobile data in that scenario. Or there's even a way to hardwire a phone, I guess. Right, like I'll get some sort of adapter, Ethernet adapter for it that would allow you to. There is some setting on here that's like roaming or something. Maybe I should try that. Even though it comes with some warning, it might be better than having to deal with this. Like this is just dumb, dude. That's dumb. But I want to give a thorough mobile game look. Some of them are actually quite good and interesting. Like I'm actually interested in doing some of them. Like some that I've never done, like some of these Subway Surfers and shit. Especially some that might be exclusive to iPhone. Temple Run, and that was like all the rage back in school. Somehow, like I don't know, it's just simple, like those runner games where you just have to move. Or like yeah, Subway Surfers is that one that you see in some of those videos, like the like. Let me actually talk about some of these then. So I like what I've done with this phone too because everything on this phone is related to what I've done with the streams. I haven't been using this outside of my streams at all, right? So everything on here I've downloaded on stream. I'm going to use on stream, right? It's all related to that. So we have a full page. I thought I had a second page, actually. Oh, we have one extra thing here. The Last War. That's that fake mobile, one of the many fake mobile game ads that you see, but it's not necessarily fake. It's just probably exaggerated how the game actually works.
So we'll look at that. The Last War thing, I didn't even play it. We have Guns Up, which is pretty fun. Honestly, a genuinely good game. The only problem is you're not really actively playing against people as much. It's more like an asynchronous type experience. Then you have, and I always say that card games on phone are the best, right? Or like turn-based games, things like that, because they don't suffer for it, right? Like as much as I might be PC elitist or whatever, even though I use a laptop and I always clown on console, what's the harm in playing a card game on phone? And the answer is there really isn't much of a harm because you can still get a pretty complete experience from it, right? Like chess, for example. Wait, I don't remember downloading the Evil Apples game. I've seen some reference to it before, but I don't remember doing that. I just kind of downloaded stuff at random, but I'm sure there's some pretty good classic games on here that you can do. And it's very fresh to me because very few of these games I would have actually played before. I almost want to do Hearthstone on here though, just to fuck around because I don't know why when I could just do it on my regular fucking thing, but there's a certain novelty to it. Like I don't even have my mic with me right now, so if I want to do something, I would have to do it on here. That's the thing, right? Like maybe I'll keep the No, I'll have to end it and restart because I'll have to switch my internet and stuff. But I want to do that here later. I'll do some random mobile games, and I'm trying to do it in like some permanent sense. That like I'll play each one till I lose. So I did like PvZ Heroes, and I did something else, And I should also give some love to Clash Royale, not Clash Royale, Clash of Clans. I should give it another shot because I played it once on the thing when I was doing Clash Royale for the first time on PC. Well, sort of on PC. Like I played Clash of Clans for the first time and I didn't really like it. So then I just went to Clash Royale instead. And so it's really hard to get views with that though. I try to upload those videos and they get hardly anything because it's probably so competitive of a category. Not that I really care about that anyway, but you just notice that with some like PvZ Heroes, I got a ton of views on those videos because again, the game is so unpopular, I guess, that people are sort of starved for content or they're so, it's like a passionate minority of this fan base. Whereas like Clash Royale, I guess is maybe so popular that it's overflowing with content. So yeah, the audio quality is not the best, which I don't really understand that either. It must be that I'm talking too loud because I don't know. I guess I overestimate how good the quality of these speakers are because again, this is the iPhone 16 Max Pro, so it should have good audio built in, good speakers. Like this is what you'd be talking to somebody on the phone with, and it should also have good audio when it comes to, or I mean, good video like the camera and stuff. Not be able to, because that's the main thing that I would do with this is like I would just get the screen sharing. There's so many good things you can do with that that make it kind of convenient. I just wish the mobile data was better though. So I'd really have to come up with some other solution. Like I was thinking, like, oh, if I'm traveling or something and I want to do this, right, this would be perfect. Except I can't do it. It's literally garbage. This mobile data sucks. Even some of this that I'm saying, you might not be able to see or hear. I mean, oh yeah, I wanted to go through each of these games and kind of say which ones I played and stuff. So, Guns Up, obviously, I had played on my delisted games gauntlet, where I, played some Chat GPT. We've had it messed around with a bit. So a lot of these other ones I haven't played. That Clash Chance of Senna or whatever I haven't played. Pokemon Go I haven't played. Thrownfall I haven't played. Sasquatch I haven't played. Tomb of the something whatever that even stands for I haven't played. NBA 2K25 Arcade Edition I haven't played. There's probably 2K26 now. NBA 2K25 My Team. I haven't played Pokemon TCG something. I haven't played this. Obviously, I played the TCG Live and the whatever other ones that were on PC. But Stormbound I haven't played. Black Deck I haven't played. Evil Apples I haven't played. Squadra I haven't played. Wuthering Waves I haven't played, which I'm pretty sure some of these are on PC. So maybe that I should avoid. Because like if whatever though. Townsfolk I haven't played. Temple Run I haven't played. Subway Surfers and Last Wars. I haven't played any of these. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm very open to trying anything at this point because I want to really indulge in the mobile gaming experience, and we can just do this again as like an audio thing while driving. But I'm very dissatisfied with that. So the only thing I can do is lower the quality all the more. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I could turn on the roaming if that helps. I could lower my quality more. I could try the Twitch app again, which had some disadvantages to it, but it's just very odd. I don't know. 720p, 30 FPS, 3000 bit rate. Like, what more can I do? How much lower can I go? That's garbage. Like, what the fuck, man? So what else do we have? It's so distracting. I've done a number of these sessions, and every single time I'm trying to get into some sort of rhythm and talk about some interesting subject, and then it ruins it because I fucking have to deal with this crashing every time. So what I'm doing. So yeah, Pokemon Go is going to be goofy if I do it in real life, but I'm sure there's things you can do with it without needing to do that. But it became such a craze and a phenomenon that like you go to certain landmarks. There's probably some weird stuff with it. Somebody gets killed trying to catch a Pokemon in real life because it sends them into some dangerous place, like to simulate. I don't get it. I don't know how it works. Like, what about a version of it that turns real life animals into Pokemon? Not that you really have to go up to them, but like you take a picture of an animal, a bear, and that's a Charizard, or you take it, whatever. You take a picture of certain things, and that counts as catching, whatever. So yeah, it keeps crashing. I'll just deal with it for now. And the only thing I want to see is we'll try this again in a minute. And the reason why we'll try it again is because I'll try it on Wi-Fi. And in the process of trying it on Wi-Fi, there was this parody I made of this parody scenario I made of like Death Note, where this random thing I thought of, where he like either that could be something good in like a bridge, like a Death Note a bridge series or something. But yeah, we can just talk about random stuff. It kind of broke my flow of what I was trying to do, as usual. It's hard to find people for like, beat me in a debate and I'll give you $100 or something. But or like you might think not everything is based on money that way. Like, oh, that's a bad way. It's on status, which is still tied to money in the sense like, oh, you want to debate Charlie Kirk. Why? Why do people care what he thinks, or why did they want to debate him? Oh, because he's famous, sure. Like, so you're not doing it necessarily at that point because of what he's saying. You'd like to think the two are tied together, but you're doing it because he's famous. It doesn't matter why he's famous. It doesn't matter. You might want to do that because he's famous. Like, because it's you and you're already famous now becomes a big deal. So yeah, I never thought I'd see the day I'd become a mobile streamer, but I want to do all of this stuff, mobile games and driving streams and different things. Then we unbox the chess up, and then I can use that to do a whole series where I show them. The one problem with the chess up is the fact that the black pieces are kind of too big solid. I don't know. Like I didn't have the same issue with the square off board, whether because they're bigger or whether because I could use the square off pieces on the chest up board, but I don't know. And that wouldn't work for the